Good to be back on Independent Television, Nigeria Decides Live Studio. We apologize for the break in the previous one where we had technical hitches, and we understand the fact that the election was held yesterday in most parts of Nigeria, but we had the seclusion of Bayelsa where it was announced that 141 polling units were basically disordered and need to have the election today, Sunday, the 26th of February 2023. I am Philip Omo-Gyukpo. Looking along those lines, as we expect the opening of the National Collation Center under the chairmanship of the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, today by noon. And as that starts, we're going to be also interrogate the collation process, the activities and figures that could be churned out will be communicated. And joining me along this side, starting from my immediate left, I have Professor Cyril Otoikia of Novena University. Thanks for coming, Cyril.
Thank you very much.
And next to him is the immediate past chairman, NBA Benin branch, Pius Oiwo.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thanks for listening.
And of course, I have Neville Obakedo, who is a lecturer at University of Benin Political Science Department.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers at home.
All right, let me kickstart this, having you or your opinion on the Bayelsa 141 polling units that were said to be disordered, where there should be an election today. And good to know we had a good outing yesterday, but election again is trickling down in Bayelsa along those 141 polling units. What do you have to say in that regard?
For every system, as it begins to work, you can't rule out challenges. But when challenges come, what is paramount is what solution do you prefer or implement in order to make it better. So I want to say, fine, there were challenges and elections could not hold or elections were stopped, and today those places, persons in those environments will now be given that opportunity today again to perform that their civic right. It's a nice one, because if we are not there, but let's assume that those challenges they had, you now decide to keep it, shove it aside and allow the people to go out there, then it could affect what will come out. So I think INEC has done well by pending it, and today coming up and say, let them go to the pool today to exercise their civic right. It's perfect.
Okay.
I give credence to them.
Okay, let's get your opinion on that, Pius.
Well, I think what INEC has done is something that is most commendable. First and foremost, it is premised on the principle that everyone will be given an opportunity to exercise his franchise. And then, secondly, to have a successful outcome at the end of the day. INEC had assured us in the prelude to the election that no one will be disenfranchised from voting. And challenges had come, and then, of course, they have also not taken it, just sweep it by the side, but decided to, of course, quickly, being proactive, get this done so that the election, those who have been denied the opportunity to cast their votes will do this. And that's in every human organization and in every human engagement or endeavor. There are bound to be challenges, and that this is part of such situations that has been a kind of experience. And I think with the greatest respect, INEC has done so well in this. And then those who have been affected, we definitely applaud INEC for this intervention.
Okay, let's look at the turnout of voters in this election. Yesterday, electorate defied the rain. You know, that was heavily upon most of the states in the country. And in spite of that, the electorate still turned out in their numbers to decide who's going to be the next in the next political dispensation. Now, what do you have about the turnout yesterday's election, Never?
When we talk about the electoral process that culminates with voting in an election, like what happened yesterday, that is still happening in some part of the country today, falls within what we call the rule initiation, stroke adoption and making, then rule application. Then what follows after now is what we call rule adjudication. In that case, there's a law that says that election will be conducted by INEC. INEC will register political parties for that election, and people of certain age range will participate in that election. And in the process of implementing any government policy within the purview of a rule application, there are usually crisis situations that require adjustment. So the turnout of the people, the electorate across the country, is quite impressive. And there are reasons for that. One of the reasons is because of the trajectory that the Nigerian states have been facing. And there have been clamor for paradigm shift in terms of the leadership recruitment processes of the country, so that Nigeria can actually attain its pride of place among the Committee of Nations. And so when we talk about voters turnout, people want to perform their civic responsibility,
Okay.
to be able to determine within the confines of the law who will lead this country to the promised land as envisaged by the citizens in the midst of the situations that they find themselves.
Okay.
So the turnout is quite impressive, and we hope and pray that the decision of the people, the outcome of the election will actually reflect the decision of the people, and
Okay.
Nigeria will be better for it.
We'll look at the Electoral Act and the intrusion of the bimodal voter accreditation system, and to a large extent, substantially, we had success, as people said, even the voters said, that there was appreciable success in the captures by the beavers and fingerprints and facial captures, with only skirmishes of some irregularities. We also had it where even the governors of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, angrily left the polling units. But reports also have it that he later came back and he voted, you know, without any seamlessly, without any challenge from the beavers. So how do you see what will be going down today in those polling units in Bayelsa State as regards the functionality of beavers?
I think if we are expecting anything today, then it should be on the improvement side.
Okay.
Because you learn from experience. It's a common balance that you can learn from experience of the past. So yesterday there were a little bit of hinges in one or two places. And I remember we were looking at one yesterday when we were looking at the Rivers State governor who could not be captured also. And I said, that beavers is a system. And those systems, as an electronic system, has provisions. When you flout any of the provisions that will make it work, it could cease to work. And we're looking at a possibility that if, for example, the governor comes in, or any person comes in, and you are standing, and there is another voter close to you, and that beavers is, you are trying to use it to picture one person, and three persons are close, the beavers could be looking at three faces. And remember that what that beavers knows is one person at a time.
At a time.
So that when the beaver captures your face, then it goes to the memory and it will now root out information from the memory. So at the time people are clustering themselves. So yesterday I think we advised, I said, for that challenge he had, let's see whether if he stands out alone and that beavers is used on him to capture, it could work well.
Okay.
So when he left and he came back, I want to believe that something has happened.
Yes.
Maybe now there were no people around him too much and the beavers was not seeing too many faces and it was able to work. So for every system that we are using, I want to advise that people should be trained thoroughly on how to implement a system so that you don't run into hitches when you are already on the field. It could work. So that at the end of the day, when these things are functioning, everybody is at peace. There is no resistance from anywhere. It's only when you now have gadgets that you are using and they are not functioning well, then you now see complaints. This thing has not captured me. Or is it because, why is the system singling my face out? You know what we can do. And the kind of feelings we can have when the chips are down, because the election is already on. I want to exercise my franchise. I want to make sure I vote for my candidate. So everybody should be given that opportunity. So the best thing to do is get these systems on time, train whoever is going to use it, and also ask the company producing the system, what are the conditions that favor, and what are the conditions that will deter or reduce the functionality of this system. Find basic solutions to those faults or those conditions. Then when you go in there, the thing works. He got another left, but he came back, and the thing worked. It could be the same system that did not capture him first, that has captured him when he now returns.
Okay, now, there was this different thoughts about how this election is going to pan out, how it's going to be like, most especially as it has to do with the beavers. But yesterday's experience, I believe, came out differently concerning the functionality of the beavers. What's your take on that?
Well, just as we got reports from across the country, like I did mention before, commending the ITV for engaging volunteer journalists to give reports about the conduct of elections across the country. And the reports we got were so encouraging. We hardly had reports bordering on the failure of the beavers. And then, except in isolated cases like that of Rivers State, with respect to the governor. And the device is brought about in such a way too that it helps in proper capturing and then, of course, collating of information, which it's kind of engaged to do. And one thing that is paramount and important too about the beavers is the fact that regardless of network or even electricity, because I understand it works with the solar power too, it works so long you are anywhere within the atmosphere. And nobody, even those in the hinterland, we didn't get complaints about the non-functionality of this device. And I must say that INEC did so well, particularly, I recall that they had a mock exercise.
Of course, yes.
And in that mock exercise, it was substantially successful. And that was why they went into the election. One would have expected, or a kind of as it's expected, here that, substantially the beavers disappointed, being a machine, of course, which kind of prone to error and then some other things. But being a new technology that has just been deployed in the conduct of election in our country, it's something that it's worthwhile. It's to a large extent achieved to the expectation of both Nigerians, of course INEC, and I'm sure INEC is so proud to have deployed such a kind of a device in the conduct of election. And then it's also going to ensure that to a large extent the challenge of the electoral results in the tribunal are minimized, because it's something that it's clear, visible, and can be ascertained.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pius. Now let's go to you, Neville. You are a political scientist and looking at the policies of government and, of course, the aspect of the functionality of the beavers. That could also help in terms of what transpired yesterday and what even the mock exercise, brought about in terms of the optimal performance of the beavers. Nigerians are looking forward to the paradigm shift, where we're going to be having developments built upon what has been carried out so far, or the positive experiences and outcome of the beavers just now. So what will you recommend, or what will you say Nigerians should be looking out for, or the electoral umpire should be looking out for in terms of improvement alongside the beavers?
In the first instance, excuse me, one of the reasons why INEC keep on developing electronic gadget to ensure free and fair election is because of the fact that there are certain stakeholders in the electoral process who want to manipulate the process in their favor. Since 1999, there have been various attempts to subvert the electoral process and shift legitimacy towards the wrong direction, which will also have impact on the policies that government will be coming up with, including the distributive largesse of government. And so you see that in 1999, there were issues of ballot snatching, ballot stuffing, and all forms of violence. And this has played out before the introduction of
Beavers.
the Beavers machine. And again, Beavers machine, like other machines before it, they are aimed at ensuring transparency and saying no in a way to manipulation of outcome of elections. So to that extent, we can once again join other Nigerians and other commentators to say kudos to INEC. And we want INEC to further improve on the process. Because when you are talking about deordering of the Beavers machine in places like Bayelsa State, the implication is that each Beavers machine is configured to a polling unit. And so when you configure the Beavers machine to different polling units, and on the day of the election, you now take a Beavers machine that is not for a polling unit to that unit, you now have the issue of deordering, to the extent that when you now say you want to use the machine to begin to accredit people, it's a different information that will be on the Beavers machine. I believe that is why election is continuing in the 141 polling unit in Bayelsa State. But whether that is the reason or not, there is room for improvement.
Because we are not clear about the reasons yet,
yes.
So we cannot speculate.
Yes,
so it's better for us to just avoid that.
Yes.
We can speculate because we don't know what the
yes.
reasons are.
The reason why I said
what
that
we have is that elections were disordered.
Yes. When the reason why I went into that, because I've been involved in election monitoring since 1999, and I know that INEC machines for election are usually tailored towards a polling unit. And so when there is a deordering, it shows that machines that were made for a unit were not brought there.
Okay.
That is, there was a misapplication of the machines. So that is, by the way, I'm saying that whether that is the reason or not, it's not the point now. The point is that there is room for INEC to improve.
Okay, there's room for improvement.
On whatever thing they feel they can do to ensure transparent election, free and fair election, and more importantly, the counting of the vote in favor of the outcome of the election.
Most especially when Nigerians are even looking forward to the next election where there can be electronic voting. Yeah. Is it impossible?
Yes. It's very possible.
So
we are getting there.
Let's put that to the test, looking at the performance of the Beavers.
Yes. I don't know. It appears you're trying to push me or walk along with me as I'm thinking fast ahead of one or two persons.
Okay.
Because I was even expecting that INEC will shock Nigerians by quietly introducing that
the inclusion of the electronic voting,
so that as the Beavers is snapping and is storing, is sending to a central system, then you now include a point where I can relax in my house, pick up my phone,
yes,
and I will vote. It's possible. I mentioned it yesterday. That is
well, are you sure our network, do we have the right network?
If I ask you
the right for the conducive environment for that?
countries who have done it right and are using it, Do they have different brains from Nigerians? No, answer me now. Do they have different brains? We are talking of technology. Don't we have scientists in Nigeria? Don't we have? That can even develop that same big vast machine that we are talking about. We can develop it here.
Okay.
And it will work the same way with anyone that have been brought from China, from Japan, or anywhere.
And that will reduce litigations.
Yes, true.
Like he has said, it will, because as we are
But
doing
that will
it,
take some money away from the pocket of the competition.
it will not take too much. You must use
We have other areas that we make
election.
money from. It's not only from election.
And you'll be very happy.
Yes.
You'll be very happy to see that we don't have litigations as per election cases anymore.
Well, I think
Even though it's going to reduce the revenue that could come.
yes, but again, just to take
you.
it up from where Prof. Kind of mentioned, electronic voting is a kind of a step, and I think a concept that we must get to
Look forward to.
and look forward to and then adopt.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say that my association, the Nigerian Bar Association, has been adopting this electronic voting system for over 6 years now.
Oh, good.
Yes, we've been having it. And it's been a very pleasant and convenient way of carrying out of voting.
Although you are having some appreciable success in
Yes.
that because of the concise
Yes.
number.
Yes, well, I
as
agree.
compared to.
Yes, but this is a Nigerian. This is a
broad
Nigerian.
base.
No. But look at it.
Okay.
No. This is we are quite much in.
Barrister, wait.
Yes.
Let me correct something there.
Okay.
Electronic systems are programmed. They have sensor. A sensor that is programmed to accommodate 1 million pictures stays.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't even come with. It doesn't matter the size.
Okay, back to you.
No, what is carried?
Nigeria has the capacity
We have it.
to deploy a mega device that would ensure the conduct of an election through electronic means. And that
Having
is
the right database.
Yes,
Having
we can
the right
do it
database.
successfully. You see,
At least the
that-
intrusion of NIN.
yes, and the rest of them.
You know,
We'll be able to
for
get
that
it done, and
make
then
it, service.
the good thing about electronic voting is that it obviates of the need to deploy security, to say, oh, policemen go and man so
Okay.
street, like we experienced yesterday that, oh, we didn't have presence of security personnel.
that will save
somewhere.
cost.
And then the issue of snatching or stuffing of ballot box would have been done away with, because electronic voting guarantees a situation where, for the comfort of your room, your bedroom, or in your wherever you find yourself, even while driving, you can just park and then just do the voting. But the only challenge that electronic voting has is people say, oh, it's subject to being hacked.
It's
But of
vulnerable.
course, yes, vulnerable.
As some say.
Yes, but I expect that a nation like Nigeria, and then with the experience we've had from the Western world, that we'll be able to deploy such a kind of
Technology.
a technology, and then ensure also that all the safety valves or whatever are put in place.
We are
To ensure
getting
that
there. We are getting there.
And I believe that we'll get there.
From what we've done so
Because
far.
from what we have done now, the BPAS is even an advanced technology that would, after this, because we are advocating that INEC should, of course, do something that looks at an improvement on the current election. Then perhaps the next stage after BVAS should be a complete electronic voting system.
Okay, now let me get to you again as a political scientist. We have the rural community, we have the hinterlands. What is your projection in terms of the functionality of electronic voting in forthcoming or subsequent elections?
You see that Nigerian leaders, whether past or present, whether military or civilians, they travel outside this country, they see the way the advanced West, for instance, they develop their countries, whether in the area of transportation, the area of education, the area of social welfare, just name it. And one wonders most of the time why they have not come here to come and replicate what they are seeing there, what they are enjoying, what their children are also enjoying there. Be that as it may, we now have to bring that matter of electronic voting into the Nigeria political process. Our people travel to America, they travel to Britain, they see how they conduct election there, including our INEC highly placed persons. What stopped them from going there through their research and development department? Let's go to America. Let's go and study their electronic voting system. When they are through with it, they come back to Nigeria and make presentation to National Assembly so that it will be included in the electoral.
Exactly where I'm getting to,
yes,
because it's a whole process.
Yes.
You know, some will say that, well, there could be possibility of having clogs in the wheel of progress.
Yes.
If you have to go through the various bills, you know, before it's now being assented to, we know all the troubles we had over the electoral 2022. Don't you think this could be a bottleneck?
There was no problem with the Electoral Act in terms of its promulgation to law.
Okay.
Into law. This is because in a multi-ethnic society or heterogeneous society like ours, when you now talk about democracy determining who becomes a leader, there are groups that have interest. The group that have interest may be political parties, they may be ethnic groups, who have people representing them at the National Assembly, where final decisions are taken about election and the method. They will normally call their people and say, you must represent our interests like this there. So if they bring a bill like this, don't support it. And they have meetings before they come and approve. When you see people gathered at the National Assembly and they are saying they want to vote, those who are saying yea, they say yea, those who are saying nay, they say nay. It is not there that decision will be taken. Decision will be taken behind closed doors in the midnight when people were sleeping. They will just come there to ratify what the decision that they have taken.
Okay, so what you mean is that lobbying has taken place?
Yes.
So lobbying in a positive sense, anyway.
Yes, whether positive or negative sense. When I say positive or negative sense, depending on the group that will carry the day, if that issue or that matter is going to be in their favor. That is how a democracy works.
Okay, so
let me just conclude that aspect by saying that we have banks in the country, and the banks are interconnected. If I'm in Zamfara State, I want to withdraw my money from First Bank.
Good.
I can use any other bank.
Simple.
And I will get the alert right there.
Simple.
Even though I open the bank in Benin here. So if that one can work, what stop electronic voting
from taking preeminence?
From working?
That is it.
It can work if they want to. If they want it to work, but as I said, they need to go and gather information from elsewhere the thing has been working perfectly well, and present it so that it will be part of the legal system concerning our law. Okay. Now, on the issue of interest in the democratic process, there are, when we say elite, we have the kind of politics that play elitist politics. It is the politics of the elites that have, when they wake up in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, in the midnight, they have what we call enlightened self-interest. It is that interest they want to promote. Whether to you who is not part of the elite group, you will say that is their selfish interest. But to them, that is their interest. Unless that interest is dangerously threatened, they will not like to grant concession to those who are not in that clique. That is what is playing out. And unless we understand that, and we that are on the massive side, use that as a bargaining chip to continue to engage the elite, problem that we have faced in the past, we are likely to face them. And that is where the issue of those who fail to learn from history, they are condemned to repeating history now comes in.
Okay. Just in case you're watching, it's independent television, Nigeria Decides live studio, and we're basically looking at opportunities where we're going to be having the opening of the National Collation Center by the INEC under the leadership of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu today. We hope the collation will going to be taking preeminence by midday, and we're going to be interrogating briefs as they will be coming from the National Collation Center. But while we wait for that to pop up at noon, we're going to be engaged in the process on how to make Nigeria's electoral process deepened in a way where we can have democracy, a hall of democracy highly liberalized to a point we can say that the dividends of good governance, will be coming to the people.